All right, hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. Today we are so excited to be taking a look at Woman Evolve by Sarah Jakes Roberts. We've got a great summary of the book to work with here.
Awesome.
And I think this one is really going to be a good one for a lot of our listeners out there.
Yeah.
This book, it's not like your typical self-help book. It kind of reframes this really familiar story in a way that, I don't know, I think it might shift your perspective a little bit. So,
Yeah. I think what's so interesting about Woman Evolve and Sarah Jakes Roberts' approach
Mm.
is that she takes a story that we all think we know, right? We think we know the story of Eve,
Yeah,
and we think we know how it ends. And, often she's presented as like this figure of failure, like
right.
the original sin, all that kind of
No,
stuff.
Triss, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But Roberts, she really digs into this and reframes Eve as this relatable woman who made mistakes. Of course, who among us hasn't, right?
Right.
But also as this incredibly strong and capable woman. And it's so refreshing because it's like she's saying, hey, we've all been there. We've all messed up. But that doesn't mean we're defined by our mistakes.
Yeah, it's like she's giving Eve, and in a way, all women like this chance
Mm-hmm.
to kind of rewrite that narrative.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And speaking of rewriting narratives,
Mm-hmm.
um, one of the biggest things that I took away from this book is this whole idea of reframing failure.
Mm.
So often we think about failure as like this full stop,
Right.
this like end of the road. If you fail at something, you're done.
Yeah.
But Roberts, she really encourages us to look at failure as a comma instead.
Oh, I like that.
Like, it's a pause. It's a chance to learn and maybe reroute a little bit.
That is such a good way to put it. Yeah. It's not about denying the mistake or pretending it didn't happen. It's about shifting that focus to what you learned from it, right?
Right.
Like, okay, so I messed up. What can I take away from this experience? How can I use this to make better choices moving forward? That's how we evolve, isn't it?
Yeah.
By integrating those experiences and using them to kind of propel us forward.
Totally. And I love that you brought up the word evolve because that kind of perfectly transitions us into this next big takeaway from the book. Evolving identity. Have you ever felt like you're stuck with this label that someone slapped on you
Oh, yeah.
like years ago
Yeah.
and you just you accept it, right? Like, oh, that's just who I am.
Mm.
This book challenges that idea completely.
Yeah, and what's so fascinating about this whole concept of evolving identity is the emphasis on becoming,
Mm.
on this constant evolution, right? Your identity isn't this fixed thing, it's fluid. It changes and grows as you do. And that's actually incredibly empowering
Right.
because it means you're not defined by your past. You're constantly shaping who you are becoming.
Yeah, you're not stuck.
Exactly.
Okay, but let's be real. Evolving takes energy,
Yeah.
right? You can't pour from an empty cup.
So true.
And that's where this whole focus on self-care comes in.
Yes, self-care is essential. And it's not just about bubble baths and face masks, though those can be lovely, don't get me wrong. But it's about prioritizing your emotional, your spiritual, and your physical well-being. It's recognizing that when you take care of yourself, you can show up as your best self in all areas of your life.
Yeah, it's like that oxygen mask on the airplane analogy, right?
Exactly.
You got to put yours on first before you can help anyone else.
I love that.
And for Roberts, a huge part of that self-care, that nurturing of yourself, comes from trusting God.
Mm.
It's about building that relationship with a higher power, leaning on that connection for guidance and strength.
It's about letting go of the need to control everything,
Yeah.
and trusting that there's a bigger picture unfolding, even when things feel really uncertain. And you know what? It's often that surrender that allows us to access a deeper sense of peace and clarity.
Yeah, and trusting God, surrendering, that doesn't mean hiding our true selves, right?
Right.
In
Right.
fact, Woman Evolve really encourages us to embrace vulnerability.
Vulnerability. Yes, this is such a key theme in the book. And it's counterintuitive, isn't it?
Mhm.
Because we're often told, especially as women, to project strength, to project confidence.
Right.
Don't let them see you sweat, all of that. But Roberts argues that true strength comes from acknowledging our vulnerabilities. It's in those moments of raw honesty that we connect with others on a deeper level, and we build genuine trust.
So we're reframing failure. We're embracing our evolving selves. We're prioritizing self-care, trusting in something bigger than ourselves, and being vulnerable. What's the final piece of the puzzle?
Well, I think the final piece is really about taking all of those things and putting them into action.
Right.
It's about setting intentions and taking steps to make those intentions a reality. Purposeful action.
Yeah. No more just dreaming about it. It's time to get moving.
And it doesn't have to be this grand sweeping gesture, right? It can be as simple as taking one small step today towards a goal that aligns with who you are becoming. Remember, clarity often emerges through action. You'll figure things out as you go.
So in essence, Woman Evolve is like this call to action. It's an invitation to really step into the fullness of who you are. It's about recognizing your inherent worth, embracing your journey, and trusting in your ability to evolve into the best version of yourself.
That's so well said.
And that leads us to a question for all of you listening out there.
Hmm. Yeah, I like this.
Think about a time you viewed a setback as a failure. Now, how could you look at that experience differently through the lens of Woman Evolve? Could it actually be a stepping stone on your path to becoming?
That's something I think we could all benefit from reflecting on. How often do we let those setbacks define us when they could actually be propelling us forward?
That is such a great question to reflect on. And on that note, thank you all so much for joining us on this deep dive into Woman Evolve. We hope you walk away feeling inspired and empowered to embrace your own unique evolution.
Yeah, we all have that power within us.
We'll see you next time.
See you then.
Bye.